is our day, but I'm really happy to be here sharing this session with you all. I am already seeing everybody introducing themselves in the chat. And where are you from? So I see people from Kenya, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, United Kingdom, wow, Tanzania, Uganda. So, well, very diverse audience. I'm pretty sure this is going to be very enriching today. So, well, before starting with today's session, please make sure to adjust your audio settings. And if you're in mobile and you have the possibility of moving to a laptop, please do so for a better experience. And remember that these sessions are being recorded and will be uploaded to the Women Live Women page during this week, so you can see it later there. So for those of you who are new to Andela, or this is the first time joining one of our sessions, so who are we? So at Andela, we know and we recognize that there is a lot of brilliant people out there, and we work to connect those brilliant minds with amazing opportunities. So we provide support and community to help you grow and expand your career. And when you join Andela, you get access to lots of benefits, like a global talent community where you'll find mentorship, ideas, opportunities to speak up. You will find sessions like this and initiatives where you can join and share your ideas and your insights, educational advancement opportunities, flexibility, smart role matching. So we are also at Andela committed to gender equality and empowering women to take center stage. So this is why we have created spaces like the Women Live Women webinar series to offer female technologists and all genders, of course, everybody's welcome, the chance to learn from the best. So without further details about Andela, I would like to introduce today's fantastic speaker. So Agnes is the Director of Talent Strategy, Partnerships and Products at Andela. With over 18 years of work experience, Agnes has worked at the intersection of mobile payments, inclusive finance, startup accelerators, and talent marketplaces, both internationally and across Africa. Agnes is very passionate about connecting Africans with opportunities or matching them to capital. She's the co-founder of 254 Network, a women's leadership network group that is a trusted resource for working women and female founders. Agnes firmly believes that women who support each other are stronger together. So welcome, Agnes. Thank you for joining us today. I think we are experiencing some issues. Let's see. Hey, Peculiar.
Hey, welcome everyone.
Welcome.
We're glad to have you all. And this is amazing, and it's so great for you to be here today. I will wait for our speaker is coming up very soon, but we need you to go to Twitter, LinkedIn, share the message, let everyone know where you are at the moment. Let them know that you are at this event which is celebrating all women in Africa, South Africa, different parts of the world today. Share it out and let everybody know you are joining us today. We have a great deal in stock for you. We can't wait to have our speaker offload them for us. And I'm sure you're going to be glad at the end of the day that today I did celebrate myself as a woman in tech, and I did celebrate myself as a woman and celebrating other women outside there in the world. I'll be handing over back to Rosa while she take up from here. But don't forget, go out there, Twitter, let everybody know. Hashtag IWD 2023, hashtag Remain Lift Women 2023, hashtag Women to the World. A lot of hashtags today for all the women doing amazing things in the tech world. Thank you so much. I'll hand over to Rosa. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Peculiar. That was great from. Please, go ahead and share on social media. Welcome, Agnes. Happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Rosario and Peculiar. You guys have done such an amazing job. And hello to everyone. Happy Women's Day. This is such an exciting time to be gathered here, connected with you all. My name is Agnes Muthoni, and I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Learning Programs here at Andela. I'm really excited that this year's Women's Day theme is about digital for all. It is closely linked to Andela's mission of connecting brilliance with opportunity and promoting more inclusion for women in technology. Apologies for being late. I truly apologize. I had some technical issues, but I hope that we've now sorted that out. And so I'm excited to jump right into our subject for today, which is the leader within you. So Rosario, if you don't mind kindly sharing your the slides, that would be great. So during today's talk, yes, we are going to be talking about the leader within you. Now, some of us or some people have said that leaders are born with natural leadership tendencies. And there are other people who have actually said that leaders are nurtured or can learn how to be great leaders. It would be great, after the content to hear what your thoughts are. Do you think leaders are born? Or do you think leaders are made? All right. So, for today's agenda, we're going to be covering the following topics. We're going to start off with what is leadership. Then we'll dive right into me sharing my personal experience on leadership. We'll move on to talking about leading without authority and share some examples of some great leaders there. We'll also talk about qualities of leadership and we'll go through a number of exercises. And then we have special guests that I'm excited to invite to the stage with me today. And that's the next generation of leaders. We have some two wonderful emerging female leaders who we're going to have a chance to chat with today. All right, so let's dive on to the next slide. Yeah, so what is leadership? So before I share with you my idea of what leadership means, um, I'd love to hear from you all. So over the next few slides, I'd love to hear what your thoughts on the list of questions are. So feel free to drop your responses in the chat. So we're going to first start out with the first question. What does leadership mean to you? And feel free to start dropping your responses on the chat. What does leadership mean to you? All right, as we're still collecting other people's responses, I'm going to move on to the next question. Oh, so we have a couple of responses here. Serving others. I like that. That's great. Responsibility and liability. Absolutely. Leadership means service. That's a really great response. Being a great servant in your capacity to serve. So lots of serving others is what we're beginning to see here. Showing direction. That's right. Being the change you want to see in the world. I really like that as well. That's awesome. All right, so let's move on to the next question, which is what makes a good leader for you? So I think some of these are interconnected, some of the responses that you've already provided. So making an impact, touching hearts, service and accountability, listening. Oh, love that, Jade. Empathy, vulnerability. That's so right. And many of the things that you're talking about here, they're intangible, but they really appeal to our hearts and our minds. Leaders are students. Yes, absolutely. Lifelong learners. That's what leaders are. These are really great responses. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, let's talk about the opposite. So we've talked about what makes a good leader. What about what makes a not so good leader? What does that look like? Um, yes. Being bossy and being rigid. Absolutely. Um, a bad leader is one who is not willing to serve. poor communication, selfish, lack of emotional intelligence. I really like these responses. These are really, really great responses, which really touches actually on what I'm going to be covering. So, like you're already capturing a lot of the essence of what we're going to be talking on about today. Not willing to cooperate. So cooperation is what makes a good leader. The opposite is what makes a not good leader. Proud and selfish, bad leadership, selfish, biased. Oh yeah. Really good points here. And then the last question is, who is your inspirational leader and why? And again, this person doesn't have to be a person of authority. This could be someone that you know of personally. How have they inspired you and why? This is one of my favorite questions. All right. So as people are dropping in their responses, we'll go back to this question around who is your inspiration leader and why do you think they are your inspirational leader? Awesome. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. And so we've talked about, or you've shared some really great examples of what does leadership mean to you? What makes a great leader for you? And I'm seeing some great responses here on like examples of who is an inspirational leader. So I'm seeing here some responses of my mother, former boss. That is awesome. Someone leading the peace community in Somali. Sheryl Sandberg. Yep, Sheryl Sandberg is definitely one of my inspirational leaders as well. Awesome. Oh, yeah, very good. Awesome. So this is one of my favorite quotes, and I think it sums up the many of the responses we've seen here on the chat. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you, my friend, are a leader. And what I love so much about this quote is that it opens it up to anyone and every one of us. If your actions are inspiring others to be more or do more, you're a leader. And what's interesting about John Quincy Adams, who wrote this quote, was that he was the son of John Adams, who was the second president of the United States. John Quincy himself was also the sixth president of the United States. And he was also the son to Abigail Adams, one of the early feminists who was one of the first advocates of women's equal education and property rights. And in less than just 20 words, John Quincy Adams has been able to capture the essence of leadership. And so let's dissect this a little bit. Let's just, dissect what he's talking about in terms of like the different elements of what we can learn about leadership from here. So looking at some of the different elements in this quote, the first element is inspiring others to dream more. So dreaming describes leaders imagining things that don't currently exist, whether it's a new product or service, a new entity, a new solution to a problem, a better process, or a healthier, stronger company. Dreaming in this context is the active and purposeful use of your imagination and our creativity and our intuition. Oftentimes, great leaders are called visionaries because they're comfortable exploring the unknown. They're thinking and sensing on what might be possible rather than being content on the status quo on what they're actually seeing in their environment. There's someone here who talked about a community leader in Somali inspiring them. And that's possibly because they're inspiring them to believe and see something that does not necessarily exist there, and inspiring others to believe in a better future. The other element around this is inspiring others to learn more. And many of you talked about, leaders are lifelong learners. So learning is one of the hallmarks of an inquiring mind. It's the active search for new knowledge and skills, Learning requires a willingness to move beyond familiar levels of understanding and being able to say, I don't know all there is to know. I need help. I have something to learn. Or can I reach out to someone else who may have more information than I do? So leaders are continual learners, and their example of personal and professional growth can inspire others to do the same. Learning more also describes the leadership quality of having an open mind, genuinely believing that others' viewpoints and ideas are of value, seeking input and honest feedback. And then let's go on to the last component here. Inspiring others to do more. Leaders are energetic and productive and usually accomplish a great deal. They have systems for organizing and planning, and they know how to work skillfully with others in an efficient and effective way. And so this touches on what many of you shared around serving others, service to others. They know how to delegate, which is another aspect of productivity. They also accomplish more because they set high standards for themselves and they're not content with mediocrity. Again, example is the best teacher, and their willingness to work hard, be diligent, and persevere is a great example for others. All right. And if you notice here, the operative word in all of these elements that we've talked about is, who can guess? What is the operative word that I've repeated here again and again? Yes, more, Rosaria. I like that. Yes, more, to do more, inspire more, right? Also inspire. So this is the essence of true leadership. Although leaders frequently do have great authority and control over some things, their true power comes from being inspirational and inspiring others to be more or do more. People support and follow leaders because they respect and admire them, because they are worthy of loyalty and regard. This quote also reminds me of another famous quote by Maya Angelou, one of the world's best-selling authors, and also poets of Phenomenal Woman. So Maya is remembered for saying that in her life, she tries to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. In her own words, she says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, but people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Such a powerful statement there. So again, this quote asserts on the positive effect leaders have on other people. So it highlights the results that leaders' actions have on people they influence, right? So we've talked about these are the results that influential leaders have on other people. What we're then going to be talking about as we move on to the next slide is we'll be talking about what are those competencies, qualities of a leader that's required to produce these results. All right, moving on to the next slide. So I'm going to share my personal experience. I grew up in Kenya in the early 80s. My parents' highest level of education was secondary school. My siblings and I were the first in our family to graduate from college. Our information at the time was really limited and restricted. There was no internet. There were no smartphones. Now, for some of you, maybe this might be hard to imagine, but maybe spend like 5 seconds closing your eyes and imagining a time when there were no phones, no internet, no laptops. And so our world and the information that we had at the time was limited and restricted. At school, we were taught to memorize the words in our textbooks and regurgitate or repeat the same words during exams. It was almost like we were being conditioned to work at a factory or an assembly line. So I grew up that way and followed that same script that was handed down to me. But what I soon came to realize as I continued to grow, and enter into the workforce, that the world was changing, and it was changing very fast. And the script that was handed down to me was becoming outdated and almost irrelevant. So it was 6 years ago today that, as I was pondering over what I needed to do, I was working at a different organization and I was kind of feeling stuck in my career. That's when I came across this book by Daniel Pink. The name of the book is A Whole New Mind. In it, he speaks of something that really struck me. He calls it the conceptual age, basically the age of heart, the age of connection, and the age of art. He argues that it is critical to harness the power of both the left and the right side of our brains in order to succeed in our work. This made me really begin to look at my world, my mind, and ask myself, had I just become a widget in this assembly line? Was Daniel saying that I could build a career with passion, creativity, and meaning? Surely, I started asking myself, there must be a better way of living beyond what I had been doing up until that point. And there was a yearning deep within me that I wanted to be something more, do something more. Perhaps it is what Daniel Pink said in his book, that we need to harness our creative, intuitive, and empathetic capabilities. I didn't know it at the time, but a part of me was also looking for a venture where I could bring my entire self to work, my newly enlightened self, pour my energies into a vision that I could unleash the potential of myself and other Africans like me. What I soon came to discover that I was not alone in this quest. And shortly after, I started connecting with other individuals who were on their own path of self-discovery and who just happened to be women. Perhaps it's because of what they say about, women and our own super intuitive powers. Through a shared sense of purpose, we created a safe space for one another where we submitted ourselves to a higher reckoning and a curiosity to examine the things that were holding us back. It was in this circle that my heart opened up and I began to chip away at all the things that had tethered me. And as a result of my newfound awakening, I found an organization, Andela, and a role that was aligned with my passion. This was 5 years ago that I joined Andela and met other like-minded, passionate women and men just like me. And over the last few years that I've been working here, we've been able to do some amazing things. We've launched the Andela Learning Community that has trained more than 200,000 developers through partnerships with many big tech logos. And this work continues to inspire me. And so this is my story. And this is what I learned, that one of the most fundamental qualities of leading is to first start with yourself. It's to build the self-awareness, to see yourself clearly, to define what are your values, what's your purpose, and how do you align it with the work that you do. When we do this, we are more confident and more creative. We make sounder decisions, we build stronger relationships and connections, and we communicate more effectively. So that's my story. And the picture that you saw previously was of me giving a TED talk a couple of years ago about the relevance of the digital age. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all. All right, so I've shared with you my story, and now in the next slides, we're going to shift gears and share some examples of leaders with authorities and new leaders that have emerged over the last few years who don't have a title or a position of authority, but have managed to effect change and inspire millions of people around the world. We've talked about the positive effects of leaders have on other people. We're also now going to delve into the qualities a leader needs to have or cultivate to produce the positive effects we've just talked about. All right, so in this slide, what we are seeing here is we're seeing examples of leaders with authority. I'm sure many of you know all of these leaders that we've captured on this particular slide. As you all know, Margaret Thatcher, also famously known as the Iron Lady, she was the first female British Prime Minister. She implemented economic policies that became known as Thatcherism. We also have Winston Churchill, who was a British statesman, soldier, and writer who served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom twice, from 1940 to 1945 during the Second World War. He is best known for defying the Nazi threat and leading the United Kingdom to victory during the Second World War. And then the last leader that we've showcased on this slide is the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who is famously known for his speech that he spoke. He's a civil rights leader. He led the movement to end segregation and counter prejudice in the United States. He is famously remembered for his speech, I Have a Dream, which is one of the most powerful talks given advocating for a fairer and equal world. So now, while each of these leaders have impacted hundreds, if not millions of people, these pictures can also be misleading. They convey the idea that leadership only comes from the top and from people with big positions or formal authority, which is completely untrue, as we've seen from the responses that you've shared around who are the leaders that inspire you. So the reality is that 99% of all leadership occurs not just from the top, but from any level in the organization. And we're going to spend some time diving in to see some examples of some of the emerging leaders that have come up without authority. All right, so again, these are my examples. I'm sure there are tons and tons of other examples of great leaders that we can share here. But in the spirit of Women's Day, I thought to, capture these three inspirational female leaders without authority. The first one, Wangari Maathai, who is from Kenya, where I'm from. She was the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a doctoral degree. She is internationally recognized for her persistent struggle for democracy, human rights, and environmental conservation. Wangari came to the national light when she conducted a hunger strike at one of Kenya's few national recreational parks to fight against land grabbers who wanted to cut down trees and build commercial real estate buildings. There's one of the forests that I usually go to walk at every weekend. And it was because of her hard work and her courage to fight that we still have that park and that forest till today. So as a result of her efforts to reduce the negative effects of climate change by planting trees in Kenya and her fight for democracy and human rights, she became the first woman in Africa to win the Nobel Peace Prize. In her memoir, which was written close to 20 years ago, Dr. Maathai is remembered for saying, in the course of history, there comes a time when humanity is called to shift to a new level of consciousness, to reach a higher moral ground, a time when we have to shed our fear and give hope to each other. Just listening to those powerful words, they still ring very true to this day. Yes, and I can see a lot of people echoing the sentiments here. Wow, what an awesome leader that she is. The next one that we have here is Malala from Pakistan. Now, she shot to the global scene when in October 2012, on her way home from school, at the age of 15 years old, a masked gunman boarded her school bus and shot her on the left side of her head. After months of surgeries and rehabilitation, she joined her family in the UK. It was then that she knew she had a choice. She could choose to be silenced by fear from the brutal attack and live a quiet life, or she could make the most of this new life that she had been given and continue to fight until every girl could go to school. With her father by her side, who has always been her ally and inspiration, she established the Malala Fund, a charity that is dedicated to giving every girl an opportunity to receive free, safe, and quality education. In recognition of her work, she received the Nobel Peace Prize in December 2014 and became the youngest ever Nobel laureate. So this is one of the stories that it starts out sad, but really has a happy ending. All right. So Greta is the last one that we have here from Sweden. I'm sure many of you have heard of Greta. Her spark of activism for climate change actually lit up when she was only 8 years old. She was in school, and the teacher showed them this documentary about climate change in school. And that's what spurred her curiosity about climate change and her will to want to make a difference. A few years later, after that, Greta conducted her first school strike outside the Swedish parliament. Now, get this, she didn't do it with other people. She asked other people to join her, but they all said no. And so she started the first strike on her own. And this inspired other people to join her with her actions to effect positive advocacy around climate change. And so her actions inspired other people, and her actions turned to a global movement. And similarly to the others, she was recognized and nominated for the great work that she has done, and she's been recognized nominated by the Nobel Peace Prize, and also honored as Times Person of the Year. And so, lots of beautiful, yes, insightful stories to share here about wonderful leaders. All right, okay, so I'm going to now play this video, and I'm sure many of you may have already watched this TED Talk video of an extraordinary woman, Maison Zaid. Rosario, if you could play the video. All right. Yeah. So that was Maysoon sharing her story about she has 99 problems and CP is just one of them. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the challenges that Maysoon highlighted in her video? And what are some of the things that have inspired you by just listening to her? I see Juliet saying you love her confidence and self-love. I do too. She has lots and lots of confidence. All right, as we're waiting for other people to drop the chats, share your, yes, what do you like about her? Yes, oh my, wow. Mary says that we are not limited. Absolutely. We have an abundance within us, and we're very resourceful regardless of the challenges that we have. Count your blessings. That is so true, Asma. I really like that. She is fun. She's hilarious. Like I think I've watched this TED Talk maybe at least 8 times. And each time I watch it, I laugh out loud. She's really funny. She's lively. She's bold. She's confident. Yes, her resilience just comes right through. It shines so bright, even as you're listening and watching her. I like what Zena says, that you love her parents never treated her differently, which gives her the encouragement to also push through the 99 problems. How true it is, having someone by your side or people by your side who are supporting you, who are your cheerleaders, and who are encouraging you to move to the next level. That is really helpful and important. Absolutely, Mary. I like what you said, that despite her challenges, she's been able to push past them and see the greatness that's inside her. That's wonderful. Great responses, everyone. Really love it. Um, all right, let's move on to the next slide. So, here we're talking about the 5 levels of leadership by John Maxwell. So leadership is dynamic, and the right to lead must be earned individually with each person you meet. So, where you are on the staircase that has been highlighted here depends on your history with that person and with everyone. We start at the bottom of the 5 steps or levels and gradually move our way to the top. And so the first level is the position level. We have the second level being the permission level, third level being production. The next one is development, and then pinnacle. So with the position level, here you can only start on a position you've been given, whatever it is. So from that place, you have certain rights to come with your title. But if you lead using only position and you do nothing else to increase your influence, people will follow you because they have to, and only as far as your job title requires. So this is what we were talking about earlier, that formal authority can give you some level of influence, but you need to be able to lead and influence other individuals beyond just the position title you have. All right, moving on to the next level, which is the permission level. Here you begin to lead beyond position because you've built relationships, you've built connections with the people you desire to lead. You treat them with dignity and respect. You value them as human beings. You care about them. You care about their well being. You care about them succeeding, and they can feel and see that in you. Because you care about them, they begin to trust you. And so as a result, they give you permission to lead them. In other words, they follow you because they want to, not because they have to. In the example of Greta, we saw that people chose to follow her because they cared about her mission and because they trusted her. In the next level, which is the production level, you move to this level because of the results that you achieve on the job. If the people you lead succeed in getting the job done because of your contribution to the team, then they look to you more and more to lead the way. They follow you because of what you've done for the organization. And so, what we're hearing here is that you can lead and be influential with title, but don't stop there. You can also begin to build trust by caring for people and showing them that you care about their ideas and that you respect them. And then the next level that we've talked about is showing results. So it's being a doer. It's being able to push, push to the finish line and get things done. The next level, which is the fourth level, is the people development level of leadership. Now, to reach this level, you must focus on developing others. Your agenda at this particular stage is to pour yourself into other individuals that you lead. So you're focused on mentoring them. You're focused on helping them to grow and reach new heights. You're helping them to develop their skills and sharpen their leadership abilities. You value them, you add value to them, and you make them more valuable. They follow you because of what you've done for them. And then the final level of leadership is the personhood level. Now, this is not a level that one can strive to reach because reaching it is outside of our control. Only others can put you at this level. And if they do, it's because you've excelled in leading them from the first 4 levels for a long period of time. You've earned the reputation of a level 5 leader. Now, when potential leaders understand the dynamics of gaining influence with people using the 5 levels of leadership, they come to realize that position has little to do with genuine leadership. Influencing others is a matter of disposition and not position. All right, so we've talked about the 5 levels of leadership. What I'd love for you to do now is take some time and do some reflection. And looking at the 5 levels of leadership, ask yourself, what level of leadership are you at your workplace or your career? What level of leadership are you at? Are you at level 1 or level 2? Or have you advanced beyond level 2 and you're now, influencing others because of the results that you produce? Or are you further along that line? Now, when you've thought about it, I'd love for you to drop in the chat, what can you do to advance to the next level of leadership? What are some of the things that you can do to advance to the next level of leadership? Oh, okay. So I hear Brenda saying, I don't think this applies to me because you're self-employed. Well, I think regardless of where you're at, whether you're self-employed or whether you're working in an organization, you can still influence others. So whether it's individuals within your organization or without your outside of your organization. So it could be your clients, or it could be becoming a thought leader in your industry, and people beginning to trust your expertise or to trust the service that you provide because of the results that you've been able to show. So good response, Randa. But yes, this applies to anyone and everyone, regardless of whether you're working for yourself or whether you're working at an organization. All right, Juliet. Thank you for sharing what level you're at. Would love to hear from you. What do you think can be done, whether it's this year or next year, to advance to the next level of leadership? Oh, Rhonda, that's awesome to hear that you always try to be helpful beyond the actual work needed from you. That's wonderful. So it sounds like you are already being influential and you're demonstrating several qualities of leadership that are making you inspire many people and influence people outside of your organization. Awesome. All right. In the interest of time, feel free to drop your comments, but we're now going to quickly move to the next slide. And so here we're going to talk about the qualities of a good leader. And we have 2 videos, trailers that we're going to watch. And so in this first one, as you're watching it, as you're watching this movie clip of Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson, I'd love you to think about or to pick some of the qualities of leadership that you're able to see in this video. All right, let's go ahead and play it. All right. Okay. So, what qualities of leadership can you pick from this movie? Continue inhabiting a growth conscious mind, because honestly, stagnation stinks. Oh, Cheryl, that's a good one. I like that. It's about moving forward and being pushed forward. Awesome. A great leader holds his team accountable. That is so true. Yes, Daniel, I like that. Discipline. I'm not sure if I would have qualified or gotten into that team, to be honest with you. I think I still need to work on my discipline when it comes to sports, but absolutely discipline. Assertiveness. Yes, Sandra, that's great. Adaremi, motivation. Cheryl, mindset too. Mindset plays such a big role here. Did anyone notice just how tough Coach Carter was? And so it's also setting clear expectations, right? Controlling your anger. Yes, Mary, that's true. Being on time, absolutely. Asma says she loves Samuel, so cannot say something bad about him. Individual accountability. That's so true. Stella, it's taking responsibility for our own actions and not waiting up for other people to call out those things that we can see that we can improve on. Sandra, people who mourn louder than the bereaved. Interesting. Sandra, could you expound more on this one? On people who mourn louder than the bereaved? I would love to just hear a little bit more about your thoughts there. We have Folu talking about respect. Ivy, so being assertive is not absolutely wrong. Yeah, Ivy, that's a great question. So assertiveness is really just, again, you're asserting yourself, you're being strong, you're setting clear expectations and holding people accountable. I think it's the way and the manner in which it is done, as long as it's fair across the board, and the way in which you're being assertive is not being disrespectful to others in any way, then yes, assertiveness goes a long way. And absolutely, it goes with setting the right tone and the right way in which you do it. So you can be assertive without being rude. And again, also assertiveness also depends on, you can be assertive and there's a way in which you can be assertive. And depending on the scenario, sometimes you may need to exercise some more assertiveness depending on the scenarios and the environment that you're in. All right. Great responses. Thank you all. So let's move on to the next, the last movie that we're going to watch before we invite our awesome panelists. And so in this movie, which is The Titans with Denzel Washington, let's proceed to watch this. Awesome. Yeah, seeing quite a number of people here on the chat saying that this is one of their favorite movies, The Titans. Yeah, so what qualities of leadership did you pick? I'd love to hear some of your responses. What qualities of leadership did you pick? I see Rosaria saying moving, so continuing to move forward, right? Sandra, resilience, absolutely. Grit is so important. Teamwork makes the dream work. I love that. We are to enjoy the process to success and not only the prize. That is so important for us to remember, Molly. And I need to keep reminding myself that every single day. It's about the process and not just the outcome. Motivating and encouraging your teammates every single time. Inclusivity, absolutely. Inclusion is so important. Peculiar here saying motivation. Wow, well, lots and lots of responses here. I love it. This is great. This is absolutely wonderful. Clear focus, energy. I think you guys can actually teach this class. Your responses are amazing. Wonderful. All right. So the next slide is a summation of all of the qualities. Well, to highlight some of the top qualities that we've gone through that many of you here have already summarized or talked about or dropped in the chat. And so looking at these qualities, take a look at them. If you have a notebook, proceed to write them down. And, every once in a while, what I do is I go back to these qualities and ask myself, how am I doing when it comes to grit? From a scale of 1 to 10, can I do better? And so I would encourage you to do that exercise. Use this as a tool to measure how you're doing in terms of improving your qualities of leadership. Okay, all right. So, wow, I'm conscious of time here, but was hoping that we could quickly move now to the next generation of leaders. I'm really excited to have this special segment. I'm really excited to invite Nuran and Peculiar to the stage. Drum roll. Let's give them a round applause. Let's give them some applause or some praise here. Absolutely. It's wonderful to have you all. Please join me on stage, Nuran and Peculiar. Peculiar, I see that you're on stage. Wonderful. Awesome. All right. So, because we're pressed for time, Peculiar, I'm going to start immediately with you. If you could, in just a few minutes, introduce yourself and share your story about leadership.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to join us today. My name is Peculiar, the program assistant at Andela Learning Community. And my story about leadership is about as I was listening to the talk, a lot was resonating with me. And I could remember a time when I led the team, that I was a technical team lead with some team of five. So at the start of a project, the team of five, just one person didn't join us, so we were left with four. As we started, initially I was just giving instruction, do this. But along the line, I found out that it's as if I was just only talking, talking, talking. So I have to look at it that this is not to be best. I think I'm the only one talking here. So I have to come down to the level where when I have the four of them left in the team, and they ask them question. I begin to ask them, what do you think about this? And how can we do this? How can we build it? Along the line, two of them, as a result of their start, couldn't cope with us. But I just have two of them left. These two left, I know that I have to be a friend and make myself, in fact, remove the lead of my name and then be part of them so that we can achieve and build on the project. So that's what I did. And then whenever we come for meeting, I just have to talk to them, get them say what they want to do, get them say how do they prefer we tackle the challenge, the problem we're having, so that we can be able to build a complete app, a site, a website. Is an app we're building. How do they think we can? So when I decided to go that way, I was able to get them work with me. In fact, at the end of the day, working on that app, these two members of my team were able to, in fact, they did what I couldn't expect from them, because I keep motivating them. I keep telling them they can do it. One of them just take to be the back end, to build the back end side of the app, and the other one take to build the front end. It wasn't, it was like, it's not going to be possible, but keep telling them we have to win this. We have to win other teams. We have to do that. And at the end of the day, just two of them left with me. We were able to build a complete app. And then when we were called for to pitch the project, you'll be amazed to know that the team, my team, we won, because these two left with me. They did an amazing job because I was there with them, encouraging them and then helping them and showing them how to do what they do know how to do, and then try to get them to say how they prefer for us to approach each stage of the project when we get there. So that's the area, and the beautiful part of it being a leader. And I also remember when I coordinated a whole project. In fact, that was really amazing. I learned a lot from the teams I work with, and I learned a lot from, they learned a lot from me. And we worked together. At the end of the day, we were able to achieve, that was an Android project. We were able to achieve the project, and all the team members were happy that they contributed to that project, and I was fulfilled being a leader and inspiring others to do what they couldn't do. Some of them couldn't actually do, uh, write code the way we wanted to then to write. Some of them didn't know how to push code to GitHub, but I have to bring out the time, have one-on-one meeting with them, and then teach them how to do all those. And at the end of the day, when we pitched the project and they were excited to see what they were able to build, And that was amazing and that was encouraging. Yeah, that's
That's
for me.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Peculiar. So many lessons here on leadership that I'm hearing. Your, your grit to continue to help others. Your team was able to. Many members of your team were able to go above and beyond what was asked of them. What a wonderful story. All right, moving on to Nuran. Nuran, maybe in just 1 minute, because we are over time, if you could kindly introduce yourself and share your story about leadership. Oh, Nuran, I don't think we can hear you. Um, yeah, I don't think we can hear you, Nuran. Let's see if we can. All right. Um, okay, maybe, yeah. As Nuran is, so let's see on the technical side if we can help you, Nuran, so that we can be able to hear you. As we're doing that, if any of you have questions, please drop them in the chat. Would love to hear your questions. Rosario, I am going to hand this over to you. But once again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been here. If you need to hop off, that's perfectly okay. Thank you and have a happy Women's Day. Over to you, Rosario.
Thank you, Agnes. Thank you, Peculiar and Noran. Um, thank you very much for sharing this amazing presentation, and thank you everybody for your comments. Before we jump to the Q&A section, like Agnes said, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Here's some useful information that I would love you to have. Remember that we will keep the discussion open in the Andela chat, and we invite all of you to join our Andela learning community. Please go to the chat again to find the link. Asma is going to share. Where our Andela learning community will help us keep building our skills and also build community with people within your region and others. And last but not least, remember to stop by the Women Live Women website to find this recording and the recordings of all the sessions we have as part of this amazing initiative. So now, yes, let's see, we have some questions for you, Agnes. Let's see. So sad this was the last webinar. Well, we'll see. Who knows?
But you can access the recordings, right? On the website.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have questions up to now. There's one here that says, hi, are there certificates for this? Do you mean certificates of attendance? Maybe, Martha? If that's your question? Yes. Okay. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But
N-
this
I
is,
can
yeah.
respond to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, not for these sessions. We don't have any certificates that we are providing for these sessions. We do provide certifications for some of our learning programs. If you are attending or if you do proceed to enroll and you get accepted into our learning programs, then we do proceed to hand out certifications for learner completion.
Awesome. We have another one. Please, how do I sign up to be a programmer without experience? Well, I think you can join, right? You can join our community and then apply to join the Talent Network, right? Please, how do I enroll for the learning platform, and is it free or paid for? Can you hear me, Agnes?
Yes, you can join the learning community by clicking on the link. I believe Asma has shared the link. Yep.
Yes.
If you click on the link, you can go to Learning Community, and there's a place there with a button that you can click for Join as a Learner. When you join, you will be pointed and directed to our community platform. There you can connect with other learners who are looking to learn how to code or who are looking to learn different tech stacks. So feel free to join. John is asking here if Andela's Build for SDG program is still on. No, sorry, John. We did proceed to hold that learning program a couple of years ago. It's currently not on. But stay tuned. Keep checking our website to see what other programs we have on. We do have the AWS Skills Race learning program that's currently available. If you go to our website, you can find more information about how to enroll in it. Thank you, Daniel, for dropping the link. Yep, it's right there.
Amazing. Okay. In the interest of time, we're going to stop here, but feel free to engage through all the channels that I mentioned before, and Asma drop the links in there to keep the discussion open. So Agnes, this was an amazing session. It was full of great advice and ideas. So thank you very much, and thank you everybody for attending this last session. It was a great pleasure to have you here today, and in the previous ones, I see that there were many people that joined some of our last sessions. So have a great day, and hope to keep in touch and hear from you all soon. Thank you.
Right. Thank you all. Thanks, Rosario. Thanks, Asma, Daniel. Thank you all. Bye.